Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing today?
Not too bad myself, Max. How about you?
Not too bad. We do have a little bit of a sports this day other than some
Got some NBA.
FCS championship action.
And NBA.
Yeah, and some NBA, but not our NBA.
No Nuggets, but there's still a lot of, I'd say, some pretty good games tonight. We
Sure.
got some stuff worth watching, stuff, especially, fantasy purposes. Got a lot of players going because there's still a good bit of games going. Just so you guys know, our boy Mex over here, he's 0-11 in the fantasy basketball league.
I forgot to check my lineup the last 2 weeks again.
See, this man's struggling. It's the first time playing fantasy basketball, and he forgets you need to set it for the whole week.
Either way, Caden, let's get right into this because we're talking about the Denver Nuggets now.
Yes, sir. Yeah, with our Denver Nuggets, it's been a strange kind of week for them since last time we discussed NBA. On New Year's Day, beat the Hawks pretty handily, just like they've done. So both games against the Hawks this year in Atlanta, beat them by like 30.
Yeah.
Here at home, they beat them by 19. They were able to handle the Hawks this year. Both, and Trae Young did play in this game, so they're just all in. It seemed like a good game for them, especially offensively.
Definitely, Caden. And something notable to talk about in these, few games is Russell Westbrook.
Yep.
His play in these games. He's, shown to be trusted by his team, by the players around him. And when Russ is in that starting lineup, things seem to go well for the Nuggets.
Yeah, it seems like, since this AG injury, they've inserted Russ into the starting lineup. And I think once AG comes back, that should stay. I think you just have Russ be your starting two guard, move Christian Brown back to the bench with Strother, with Peyton Watson, with all them, and just keep Russ because it seems like he's a much better fit, especially when he's running with Jokic. That the two-man, especially with, Murray's been playing better as of late.
Yeah.
But especially with Murray's shooting throws right now, even though Russ obviously isn't that great of a shooter anymore, but the two-man that they can run together, especially with Russ's passing abilities, seem really just productive so far. So I think once AG does end up coming back from his injury, Malone did say today that he's practicing with the team. He probably won't play tomorrow against the Celtics. We could possibly see him back by the end of this week. I think, once that happens, keep Russ, though, in that starting lineup.
Definitely an option on the table, Caden. I would personally agree. I think Russ should be in the lineup moving forward. I think the numbers speak for themselves with that. But not only that, I don't want to rush AG back. We've already seen this is the second injury he's had this season alone.
Same calf strain both times.
Yeah, so definitely would rather he take another week off if he needs a couple more games to make sure that's healed and healthy before he rushes back. But
yeah, after this Hawks game, we had a little home and home back-to-back against the Spurs where we got just treated to some good Jokic versus Wemby basketball. There was just a great showing by both players, both these games. A lot of fun to watch.
Wemby, Caden, we've talked about it the last 2 weeks, and we're going to continue to talk about it. He's a freak, defensive player of the year, and being able to go toe-to-toe with the best player in the NBA, Nikola Jokic, consistently now, because both times they've played, or 3 times now they've played each other, he's put on an impressive performance, and so has Jokic. Like, these two are juggernaut centers in the NBA, an epitome of what you want to see in NBA basketball. It was electric and it was exciting.
Yeah, Justin, in that first game where, Wemby had 35, 18, and 4. Jokic had 41, 18, and 9. The Nuggets do end up losing this game by 3. But more on that, though, I'm sort of confused a little bit because you go down 3, you give up that layup to Devin Vassell. There's about a little less than 2 seconds left. You have a timeout. With the timeout, you can advance it to half court and at least run a play, try to get Jokic, Porter, someone open to at least get a makeable shot up to send that game to overtime. I don't know why you try to rush it. Try to, just pass in, you basically leave a half-court heave. I just don't get that. They asked Malone after the game. He didn't really answer. Jokic after the game's like, I think we should have called a timeout right there. I don't really know why we didn't.
Malone came back and did say that it was on him, that he needed to call a timeout in that situation, and that you couldn't blame no one else but him.
Yeah, and that's 100% the truth. He needs to, right after that layup's made, you call your timeout, advance the ball to half court, and get up a respectable shot to try to send that game to overtime. Then the next night, though, they traveled to San Antonio. So that first game in Denver. And then, this game, just another show between Jokic, who put up 46, 9, and 10. And Wemby had 20, 23, and 3. He had a 20-20 game. Jokic had another 40-point game. In these shots, in these games, it seems like it's starting to become more evident that the offensive struggles of the rest of the team are making Jokic realize he needs to do it all himself. In this game, though, Porter really helped right the ship in this game. In those non-Jokic minutes in the third quarter, he put up I think he put up 10 of his 28 points in that third quarter to really help propel the Nuggets back into contention in this game. And in these 2 games span, Jokic put up 87 points on 71 shots. He took 71. He's the first player since Kobe to take 70 or more shots in a 2-game span. And he's doing it because the rest of the team is not producing. Porter has produced both these games. Yeah. He looked good. In this game where he put up another 36 shots, Murray only had, him and Porter were the only double-digit scores. He had 46. Porter had 28, and they put up 122 as a team. So Murray had 13. Next closest was Russ with 9. The scoring's not coming, and it's leading to Jokic really taking the blunt force of this entire offensive load, putting up 30-plus shots a night.
It is, Caden. That's kind of been the thing we've talked about this year, why this team has struggled. But it's nice when you do have the best player in the world, and he is able to do that on a nightly basis. Speaking of another one of the NBA's top players of the last few years, Jimmy Butler, Caden, he's gone.
Yeah, weird situation. We're going to detail it more for you guys here, too. Also, check out the website, theuntouchaballs.wordpress.com. I wrote an article detailing the whole thing it was Saturday night when the suspension got announced. So if you want more just base facts there, it's also on there. But yeah, so Jimmy Butler, there's been rumors, obviously, the entire season. Where is he going to go? Nuggets, Lakers, maybe the Warriors. Who's going to trade for him? The rumors somehow got so big that the team president of the Miami Heat, held a press conference just to say, we are not trading Jimmy Butler. You don't see a team president come out to you might see him answer a question if a reporter asks him something. He specifically held this press conference to be like, don't look into these rumors. Jimmy Butler is going to stay a part of the Miami Heat. And then Jimmy Butler had a post-game presser about a week later where he goes out and says, yeah, I've lost my joy for the game of basketball. He's like, I still have, do you have joy here? He's like, I have joy here off the court. But he's talking about, I'm still a good player just because my usage rates are down. And he's like, back to my early days, that's not because of me. He's like, that's because of how they're using me. And then a reporter asked him, do you think you can find your joy here? And again, he's like, on the basketball court here? No, I don't think so. So he's basically saying, trade me, get me out. And so what did the Heat do the next day? They released a statement that says, we have suspended Jimmy Butler for 7 games for multiple instances of conduct detrimental to the team over the course of the season and particularly the last several weeks. Through his actions and statements, he has shown he no longer wants to be a part of this team. Jimmy Butler and his representatives have indicated they wish to be traded. Therefore, we will listen to offers.
Yeah, and I think as, the president, that's what you have to do at the end of the day. I think it was definitely unprofessional of Jimmy Butler to come out and just say that point blank to the media. I think regardless of how unhappy you are in the situation, you owe it to your team, those guys in the locker room to, have a little more respect and keep that issue private. Keep it private between your agent and, the bosses up front. And I just think it was a poor look on the league. And I think that's kind of part of the reason why, we've seen this trend in NBA is coming down is these players who just want to jump ship all the time, kid. Things, fluster and I'm not trying to put it all on Jimmy because, it is on the Heat as well.
Jimmy's led them to 2 finals in the last 5 years.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you hate to see that with how good of a player Jimmy Butler is. And that Heat franchise, like you said, he took 2 finals for them to have a split like this so abruptly and on kind of bad blood, I think it's bad for the league as a whole.
Yeah, not only that, but this all happening will hurt the trade offers that the Heat are going to receive for Jimmy because, you're trying to get rid of him anyways. Why are we going to offer you this absolutely insane package when we don't particularly really need to?
Most definitely.
Another thing is I saw this article that was talking about it. It's I forget where it was from, but it's basically saying how now it's more evident really than ever, especially in the 4 major leagues in the U.S. In the NBA, though, if you're a superstar player, you have more control than anybody else in the league, whether it be your coach, your owner, whoever. If you're a superstar, you have the most control in this league, and you don't see that in these other sports leagues across the country.
You do not, kid.
Yeah, you could be like, I want to trade. Okay, we'll try to figure it out. You see another team maybe try to do that, and it won't happen in another sport.
The NFL owners will come together.
Yeah.
They'll blackball a guy from the league.
Exactly.
Like you've seen it so many times. If like Antonio Brown, for example, the way his conduct was detrimental to the team and he stormed off, he's never going to get another chance to suit up in the NFL ever again.
No.
Regardless of him being a Hall of Fame caliber player.
He's a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. You just see when a superstar in the NBA wants something, it looks like the owners and everyone's going to cave in and give it to them. Now, the last thing we do want to talk about here, though, is the New York Knicks, who, since they lost in the NBA Cup games not that long ago, are 9-2. They had a 9-game win streak before they've lost back-to-back. It just seems like they're really, even though we talk about how their offense has been, their defense is starting to become better, become more of that league average defense that you need when you have a top 2 offense in the entire NBA.
Correct, Caden. They had, we've talked about that trade, and we said if these players start to find their role, they start clicking together over more time, this team could be very dangerous. And that's what they've shown over this 9-game stretch of victory is they're playing a solid defense. They're efficient with their shooting. It's not crazy. Like, they're not going ballistic, but it's efficient enough to win, and they're playing sound basketball. Everything you want to see, I think that's a good sign moving forward for them as we turn the clock into 2025, going towards the latter half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at someone like Cat, who he didn't really start that slow with the Knicks, but you've really seen why he's one of the best scoring big men in the league these last handful of weeks where he's putting up, he has a couple 40-plus point games. He's draining a bunch of threes. Like, he's really found his spot in this offense. Right. And it seems like Jalen Brunson, where kind of at the start of the season, he was more not sure exactly. Like, he's still the 1A. You're the best player on the team. You still need to be taking your shots and, like, creating opportunities for yourself. And it seemed like more at the start of the season, he was a little passive, still trying to, like you're saying, gel with all these new players. And now it seems like he's now figured out how it's going to work. You're still Jalen Brunson. You're still going to want to put up your 25 to 30 points a night. And let's say you have a night where you're not shooting the ball well. This is when you can lean into your pass game because you have all these offensive weapons in Cat, McHale, OG, and all that. And especially we were harping on McHale earlier in the season, and it seems like he's starting to figure it out. Even earlier, so we're all talking about the whack shooting form. Why are you changing something that's been working? And now his efficiency is getting back up. He's starting to score the ball better. Seems like it's all starting to click right now for the Knicks.
Definitely is, Caden. Going to be a team we're continuing to talk about and look about moving towards the future.
Yeah, for sure. I just think as they're really now a contender. I mean, they already were a contender in the East, but the way they're playing now, it makes it really scary for a team like the Celtics or the Cavs to want to have to face them in the playoffs.
Most definitely.
So yeah, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. Share with your friends, family, strangers, anything like that. And like we mentioned earlier, check out the website, theuntouchaballs.wordpress.com.
Most definitely. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.